Alrighty. Well, after losing my job and then reading a couple of emails from a few subscribers and assessing the situation with a clear mind, with little Miss, she's a nice person. She's got good intentions, but quite honestly, I don't think we're suited. And in all honesty, the girl I first met, and what she sort of is now, and now that a few solid truths have come out, there's two different things. I met a girl who was sick of all the bullshit of her family, picking and fussing about every little thing she'd done while she was doing all the household chores, and getting a blast over all these minor things, who wanted to get away from that life, and wanted to run away from them, to somebody who is now sticking by the family, and now the legal guardian of her niece, and trying to pick up the pieces of a family that is just a shitstorm. And I'm expected to basically adopt all of the culture and accept the family, and part of the deal is that I had to say that I'd love the family before I've even met them. And she's gone from someone trying to get away from all that bullshit to somebody who's going to embrace it and also wants me to embrace it, and she's going to go down with him, and I probably would have as well. So basically she's completely different from what I originally knew her as. So I said to her, and I think this is very true, did you think you could wait this long to tell me the truth about the family and some of the things about yourself, and then, because it's been so long, I'd just sort of overlook it, or I'd be so deeply in love with you, I'd just sort of forgive you for anything and everything? Did you think that was how it was going to be? And I accused her of basically stringing me out to the point that she thought I'd be in too deep to go back, and would feel that I've wasted so much time that I wouldn't backflip. Well, I'm backflipping because I'm not going down like a sack of shit with all of those drug-addicted, hypocritical, jailed fucking dickheads with illegitimate kids all over the place. She wanted to get away from it originally. Now she's sticking by it, and she can stick by them and go down the fucking shithole with them. There's a number of things I haven't even told you, and I'm not going to tell you, but the tip of the iceberg is that, yes, one of them, these half-brothers that I never knew about, is in jail. Another one is deeply in drugs and in rehab, and that's the niece. They're trying to get her away from some of that. There's a couple that are alright, but shit, the friggin' kids. There's one of the half-brothers she's not even supposed to know about the existence of. There's that many bloody things that they're trying to keep secret, and just ignore any faults, and then still be hypocrites. Her father was having a go at her, saying that she had to get a job before she could meet me. Meanwhile, he was sitting on his ass, and I think she let something slip, I'm not too sure, but he might be a so-called recovered drug addict, and he never looks for work and sits on his ass and then says that she has to have a job before she can meet me. And this sort of hypocrisy is just constant. I can't just stand there and accept the hypocrisy, and the bullshit. And quite frankly, I could see where all this was leading to. I was going to be footing the bill for all these lazy bastards, paying all their court fines, their lawyer fees, and all this sort of stuff. And she'd say, but no, I'll look after the niece and you won't have to pay for her. Bullshit! You get a bit of a government handout to pay for food and clothes, but essentially, I'll be looking after the kid. I'll be taking on, the school fees, anything else that's expensive, and at the end of the day, as a result of her sticking with her family, I would be trying to fix some of the family problems with her, or at least financially bearing some of the load of these lazy, drug-addicted, bloody hypocrites, and quite frankly, she also wanted me to change from the national culture, the one I've been brought up with, to the Samoan culture, and, can my parents live with us in years to come, and other ones like, will you convert to Catholicism? She'd talk about compromises, but it seemed like I was the only one that was expected to make compromises. When I said to her, look, I'm Protestant and I'm sort of from a Baptist background, and, all intensive purposes, it's the same God, and we mightn't have statues and light candles and see Mary as, a great figure. Mary was, is not so greatly held up in Protestant doctrine as it is in Catholic doctrine. But, it's essentially the same God, and so we can just let that one slide, can't we? I've known people where the wife's Catholic and the husband's Protestant before, and they can just go along. Oh, well, if it's so similar, then why don't you convert to Catholicism? Oh, God blimey, between looking after your niece, changing me religion, footing the bill for all these lazy friggin' hypocrites. No, at the end of the day, you know what, you can shove it up your ass. It just, there was too much to take on, and it's very interesting that all this shit about the family only comes out way down the line, a long time later. And a couple of things come out even about her, and, oh God, her parents and some of the things there, and you just sit there thinking, I'll put it like this. This is a nasty thing to say, but there's a bloke at work who had an opinion that it seems that quite a number of other people have had. And he said the solution to the problem is a shotgun and a bobcat because there's too many for a shovel. Yeah. My father had raised concerns that I'd be living my life as a puppet on a string. Quite honestly, she wanted to go travelling, and I said, and how are we going to pay for a house if we travel the world? Oh, well, maybe if we work really, really hard. Well, I've been trying to work really, really hard, and the work's a bit thin on the ground, and I've been in and out of jobs this year, and what if we're trying to pay for a house? You can work really, really hard, but what if there's not the jobs to work really, really hard, And it just sounds like something a kid would say, and there are a lot of things where she's a bit immature, and she's very mature in some areas and quite immature in other areas because of the sheltered life that she's been in. But, I will say we were two different types. We might both be nice people, but, we were two different types, and I could see this all crashing and burning within a few years of being married. It'll last for 2 years, 5 years, and then I'd lose this place in the divorce and be out me friggin' ass. Fuck that. So, thanks for you guys' advice. I was hanging on to something that wasn't sustainable. It wouldn't have lasted anyway. And having had a clear head and got the emotion out of the way, I can see that that's the case. And look, let's face it, the only person who thought this might have worked was my sister, who isn't terribly deep in on the situation. All my subscribers, blokes that I'm friends with, blokes at work, my parents, all of them said it was going to be an epic fail, and thanks for saying the obvious, people, and it's just taken me a long time to give up, because I usually have a lot of hope, and I, as Tony said, Tony Mullins told me, you pretty much look like you're getting catfished and just give up. It's more trouble than it's worth. And he was right, you know. And there's a female subscriber that sort of really tipped the balance when she said to me, in all honesty, it sounds like you're being controlled. And she also said that an early part of a relationship is when there's a lot of nice, fresh love and it's happiness. And it's not. You're being controlled. And my father said the same thing, pretty much, when he said, if it's this hard before you're married, how hard is it going to be after you're married? So there we go, you know. She wanted everything to be all her way and hoped that she could slowly mould me into doing things her way. And I'm not going to be a puppet on a string, you know. And this is a family that I think at the moment are pretty much living off the pension checks of both of the grandparents. And it's just, you know, probably be living off one of my paycheck as well might be the idea. But anyway, you know, I've wasted 9 months, but it's better to waste 9 months and realise than say, oh, we've got to make this 9 months account for something and then waste 5 years or 2 years and lose this damn property. You know, and honestly, like, you know, I assume I was a reasonably good catch, living in a house that, yeah, isn't a very great house, I will admit that, but very low overheads of living, you know, and I'm not paying rent. It works out, the interest on the loan works out about $50, actually less than that, every week, and that's all that I've got to pay, you know, to maintain the loan on this place. And, you know, how many reasonable, I don't want to be a smart ass here, but reasonable looking blokes with their own house are you going to find out there who are willing to take girls who aren't good looking, who have got a bit of weight on, you know, and are willing to compromise? Not many, but I'm not bending to absolutely every demand, and there's a time where you've got to draw the line in the sand and say enough is enough, and we've reached that time.